we've decided to save the best presentation for the last. So the buses leave at 6:30 for SeaWorld, and we expect you all to be here until then. Just kidding. Okay, you've probably seen this before. Feel free to engage your neighbor beside you, but do silence your phones. Okay, so why are we here? So in September of 2020, ARC hosted a digital twin virtual workshop with about 100 participants from 25 oil and gas and chemical companies. The purpose of that workshop was to develop the vision and mission for sustainable digital twins in brownfield operations and maintenance applications. So of the workshop, the attendees considered the functional requirements in digital twins and how to break down silos and improve collaboration, remove costs in operations and maintenance. This initial workshop that we had back in 2020 became the foundation for a working group that ARC hosted with many of our clients. So today in this session, we're going to be sharing some compelling beliefs about enterprise software, the ability to generate much needed value out of digital twins, and ultimately what we're looking for is a discussion with industry on innovation, value creation for various business applications and processes in the operations and maintenance phase mainly. We want to take digital twins and provide a linkage to corporate ESG and sustainability goals. And we want to discuss the ability to seamlessly snap in fully interoperable digital twins that will ultimately give us access to leading edge capability and performance. So that's why we're here. So we're going to hear from a few panelists, and we have one speaker today from ExxonMobil about digital twins. So before we get into it, I want a recap of 2022. So 2022 of June, the last ARC conference, we had a presentation from Michael Hotaling from ExxonMobil and Manoj Darwadkar from Dow, and they shared a glimpse of what digital twins would look like in the future. So this session is available on YouTube, and I do highly recommend, if you haven't watched this presentation, it really is worth the watch. So Michael defined the fully mature digital twin and the current and future state of 3D data along with current challenges. Manoj from Dow discussed the digital framework and connecting digital twins, the necessary standardization and the automation to reduce technical debt and with the 3 pillars of sustainable digital thread. But ultimately, during this session, what all the leaders agreed to was, 1, there is a great disparity and diversity in the data sources that must be federated and united. Sound familiar? We've got too many modalities of 3D asset visualization. And numerous use cases for digital twins are single use case, and each digital twin needs a broader scope. And then finally, there are no standards that exist for spatial coordinates amongst engineering and construction, asset owners, and vendors alike. So in this session and with the working group, we defined something new called open asset digital twins. So open asset digital twins are to be built on federated, open, and interoperable data platform that unites process data, 3D visualization, and technologies in enriched engineering data with machine attributes. Now, I have to go a little bit further back in time. So back in 2015, during the ARC Forum keynote, ARC President Andy Chatta. Andy, are you here? There he is back there. Okay, so Andy shared ARC's vision for industrial software called the Information-Driven Enterprise. And by the way, that video is still available on YouTube as well, right? So Andy's vision for how the enterprise software business would evolve and a new model for apps would emerge to ultimately applications would run as a service in a public or private cloud. Users would seek opportunities to transform their plant and business operations, and the industry would embrace open and secure software platforms. And this would ultimately support a diverse vendor ecosystem. Sound familiar? This is 2015. So during that same keynote, that same ARC event, ExxonMobil discussed the recent contract award to Lockheed Martin. Lockheed was to serve as the systems integrator in developing the next generation open and secure automation system for the process industries. So pictured here is Don Pertusiak. Don, are you here? He might be next door. So hopefully I've captured Don's best side, and this presentation is also available on YouTube. But the important message here from 2015 is that ExxonMobil realized that innovation and value creation and the ability to integrate best-in-class components effortlessly would only be achieved by a standards-based, open, interoperable, secure architecture. So I look at Andy's somewhat prophetic view of enterprise software combined with Don's wonderfully compelling overview of open automation that moved an industry today to a full slate of open process automation supporters in 2023 with product that's now in field trials. So the working group around open digital twins, we see a strong connection between the vision and the way at which OPA got started and the connection with open asset digital twins. So I want to step back a little bit and talk about something that's just a little bit more conceptual. So as I previously stated, fully mature digital twins are federated, they're open, they're interoperable, and they unite the technologies together for things like process simulation, 3D visualization, and technologies with enriched engineering data. But if you look to the industrial metaverse, then think of the industrial metaverse as that consumption platform and vendor ecosystem. That's where connecting the physical and the digital world by combining many, many open digital twins across all phases, design, operate, and maintain, adding IoT sensors, modeling, and logistics in the cloud. So we see data in the future industrial metaverse enriched and piped to subject matter experts that are able to analyze your data using machine learning and AI capabilities that we're all talking about figuring out how to add on. And it'll make processes more efficient, more effective, with less carbon intensity. After all, we're at an event to talk about sustainability. So the industrial metaverse experience then is delivered via rich, immersive experiences, augmented, visualized on any pane of glass or any handheld. Now, I had to throw in an example of the commercial metaverse, right? So unlike the industrial metaverse, so in the center there is a reference to a video game. So if you enjoy video games at all, and if you have children that like to play video games and you like to connect with them, you might be familiar with the one in the center there, which is called Population 1. Anybody heard of Population 1? So this game, Population 1, offers 3D, photorealistic, real-time gameplay in an immersive, cooperating gaming environment. You're immersed in the game with your kids. Your kids can be in another city. And why this is relevant, it's because an entire generation of new workers entering your workforce grew up playing games like Population 1. 3D and visualization is now in our industry, and we still work from P&IDs. It's time for us to move forward. So another example of this, so if I look at how this will work, the industrial metaverse, I look again at the consumer metaverse, and last week I bought a new mobile device. I bought the latest, I guess it's an iPhone, and it works quite well. I used to be a Samsung user, and I thought, well, how am I going to make out changing out all of my data? So it was actually a lot simpler than I expected. So you fire up the iOS phone, you fire up the Samsung phone, you put an app on the Samsung phone, and you hit transfer. So my experience in the commercial metaverse by using tools is all of my WhatsApp, all of my text messages, every picture I've ever received, every photo, every piece of metadata that showed the locations of the photo went from Android to iOS. Like, it did not matter about the platform or who the vendor was. So this is the same experience and users the same experience end users are expecting from industrial software and digital twins in the industrial metaverse. Now, we understand from a sustainability perspective, we understand how the market investment from an investment standpoint is shifting to greener investments. So if you make something or you move something, you create a carbon footprint, right? So the Industrial Metaverse will provide the means to simulate mature digital twins infinitely in the cloud before they are ever made or transported to help build products more effectively and more efficiently with a lower carbon footprint, lower water lower water utilization, and ultimately more sustainable. So at the corporate level, the board is being asked, how are my companies going to deliver more sustainable products and services? And that's where the role of technology is going to come in, is you're going to save on supply chain. When you're building products, parts will be where they need to be. They won't be sitting in yards ineffectively. Workers will be where they need to be. You'll be able to deliver capital projects more effectively and operate and maintain them with a lower carbon intensity. And that, I think, is the message that I think the C-level suite will soon come to know. So, and I just have one reference to what the value is, because I think this is really important. We're all stakeholders here in the future of digital twins, whether you're a software vendor, or you're a system integrator, or you're on the engineering and construction side, or you're an asset owner, you make something. So this is from McKinsey, and most analyst firms have got a similar number, right? So the potential to generate, there's the potential to generate up to $5 trillion in value by 2030. And so the industrial metaverse is just too big for us to think about. So, and we know that the scope of digital twins is quite broad. So my last slide, so why are we here? So the purpose of this meeting is really a call to action. All right, so we're here gathered to hear the insights from a few change agents that you're going to meet very shortly. So they are the asset owners, the standards organizations, the industry groups, the software companies that are entering the industrial markets. But the folks that are in the working group and the change agents that we've met so far, they want to articulate their vision to industry, to move the industry to value creation through open, standards-based, plug-and-play interoperability for digital twins, just like open process automation back in 2015. So you could say that history is repeating itself, or this is the natural progression for software to move to open systems. They want to create some alignment. So you're going to hear from them today, and we're going to want participation today. We want your thoughts. We want to know what will work, what doesn't work, what are the next steps. And before I introduce our next speaker, I've got a few logos here. This is probably important. There are already people that are sort of working on digital twins on different pieces of it. They may not be aware of some of the things that Exxon and Shell and Dow and Eastman are already working on. So there's I mentioned the Open O&M, right? So that's an initiative around multiple industry organizations to provide a harmonized set of standards in exchange for O&M data. Members are ISA, MESA, Mimosa, OAGI, OPC Foundation. Like, these are all folks, you're already here. USPL-NL, there's a standard called FL3DMS. That's the practical application neutral specification for the structured and content of 3D models, designed to guide the creation and maintenance of 3D models in capital projects. We've got OSDU in the upstream oil and gas industry. So that's an open source, cloud native, subsurface reference architecture with reusable implementations for any cloud provider. We've got DEXP. So the objective of DEXP is to develop and promote general data exchange for the process industries, covering all functions of asset operation. So we've got so many different groups working together, but they may or not be focused on the vision and principles that these change agents have talked about around open and interoperable systems.